next panel discussion is on, okay, before we begin, I would like to make a couple of important announcements. One is kindly fill in the feedback form, and somebody will be moving around to collect it in the next 10 minutes. Secondly, please do follow our website, our Facebook and Twitter page. Also, one more announcement. Those of you who are present here are not our members. Kindly enroll for the membership so that you can have more benefits like conclaves like these, and you can attend it at a much lower rate. Thank you. We'll move on to the next session of award-winning practices. This session is being chaired by Mr. J.P. Shroff. I would like to invite Mr. J.P. Shroff on the dais. Mr. J.P. Shroff is a renowned name in construction industry. He is a director of Shroff Group. He is an engineer with a gold medal, a lawyer, and a management graduate. He is an eminent speaker and has delivered speeches at various prestigious institutes. He has also won and presented papers at various conferences and seminars. I would like to invite Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni on the dais. He is a vice chairman for National Institute of Personnel Management of Yashashvi Institute. He is a human resource professional and an entrepreneur with 3 decades of experience. He is the first person to conceive and implement India's first Learn and Earn scheme duly approved by the government of Maharashtra. Both Mr. J.P. Shroff and Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni have been very active members of our Skillconclave core group committee. Ms. Sanjogita Mishra, I would like to invite you on the dais. She's a Dean of Skills Integration at Centurion University and Director Learning and Development for Gram Tarang Employability Training Services. Yeah. Ms. Sanjogita Mishra, please come on the dais. Mr. Sabrinath Nair. He's a co-founder and CEO of Skillvary Training Solutions Private Limited, engineering and management professional with wide experience in building and marketing of technology products for Indian rural needs. He's coming, he's gone out for a break. Yeah, Mr. Sabrinath, please come. I would request Dr. Anand Sir Deshmukh to welcome our panelists with a token of appreciation. I think there are brief 10 minutes presentations followed by a panel discussion. So over to Mr. J.P. Shroff.
Good evening, everybody. Probably I've deprived you of a cup of tea and some bhajiyas that are waiting outside, but all the same, time is running short and fag end of 2 days of conclave of skills. It's a difficult time. But anyway, I'm so proud to chair a session of award-winning practices. Somebody spoke of execute, execute, execute. I'm not talking of just execute, execute, execute. I'm talking of win, win, win. Execute and win. This is all the session is going to be about. People who have not only executed, but have won. So we have heard of skill gaps and we heard of demand of various organizations for skills and people needed for that activity or for those trades, and we heard of them. But here are people who pulled up their boots and said, whatsoever happens, I'm going to look at what I can do for the industry, what I can do to bridge this gap. Compliment them with an applause, please. These are great people that are going to do a great job for Skill India. These are people who have taken the mission of the Pradhan Mantri to make this country the capital of skills in the world. Doable, absolutely doable. And I say this because I just came back from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and I saw what India could do. Trust me, with a second or third time participation, we did a brilliant job. You're going to hear of those success stories after this session. But let's begin with what these people with their training institutes have done so far in skilling. So I'll request Mr. Vishwas Kulkarni from Yashasvi to speak about his training activities, what he's doing with the people from not knowing anything on the skills as to where he's taking them on. And as Mr. Bhargav said, we have a limited over time, so about 7 to 10 minutes is what I request my panelists to do so that we have more interactive sessions after that, because this is the session that's going to tell you how we're going to do it. So Mr. Kulkarni, please.
Good evening to all. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think I straight away go ahead with the presentation, what a document we have, what activity we do, and then I'll speak again.
I just said we have people who are executing and winning over.
In increasing employment opportunities, the Yashasvi Group has already undertaken several initiatives to bring about real tangible results with a positive social impact. One such initiative, Yashasvi's innovative Learn and Earn Skill Development Program, is proving to be a catalyst for social change as it is empowering economically weaker youth through meaningful and relevant technical education. Under the Learn and Earn scheme, students who are minimum 10th pass, 12th pass or fail, or ITI pass or fail, in the age group of 18 to 26 years are enrolled through a selection process by the respective company. The selected students gets on-the-job training for 3 to 4 years in the company and also undergoes classroom instruction for the diploma program in the respective field. The company provides on-the-job training for 8 hours daily as per its shift schedule. On completion of the first shift's training, Yashasvi's faculty impart classroom instruction as per the syllabus for 2 hours daily inside the company's premises. Yashasvi conducts theory and practical examinations in the government polytechnic and government-approved institutes. During the program, the company pays selected students a minimum monthly stipend of Rs 7,500 for non-ITI and Rs 8,500 for ITI, with an increase of minimum of Rs 500 per year. Apart from providing facilities such as uniforms, safety shoes, canteen, transport and insurance coverage, etc., by the end of the training, the student not only earns a government-recognized diploma in the respective industrial sector, but also gains valuable confidence to stand on his or her own feet. Yashasvi is affiliated to Yashwantrao Chavan Maharashtra Open University. The courses offered include Diploma in Mechanical Engineering, Diploma in Industrial Engineering, Diploma in Electrical and Telecommunication. Yashasvi is also affiliated to Maharashtra State Board of Technical Education. The courses offered include Diploma in Industrial Drug Science, Diploma in Food Science, Diploma in Retail Management, Diploma in Supply Chain and Logistics Management, Diploma in Hospitality Management. Yashasvi is also affiliated to MS University, Tamil Nadu. Currently, more than 15,000 students are getting on-the-job training in around 186 industries all over Maharashtra. Recently, on completion of 4 years of training, students from the first batch of the Learn and Earn scheme have not only fulfilled their dream of becoming an engineer after successfully passing their examinations and securing a diploma, but also got absorbed as trainee engineer with 100% placement at various multinational companies on attractive salary of Rs 12,000 to 21,000 per month. All all this has been accomplished without any government funding and without any financial contribution from students. It is a 100% industry-sponsored program and a perfect example of a successful strategic collaboration between the industrial and academic community. Taking the program further, Yashasvi has signed an MOU with Bharti for better opportunities for livelihood for underprivileged youth from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities. Yashasvi has partnered with Maharashtra State Probation and Aftercare Association for the social upliftment of the most vulnerable kids in the society. Yashasvi has recently signed an MOU with the government of Bihar to make the youth of that state self-reliant and confident by giving them access to a world of opportunities. 400 women from a self-help group are being empowered as they prepare and supply tiffin boxes and stitch uniforms through a tie-up between a self-help group and Yashasvi. Not only are these initiatives like the Learn and Earn scheme increasing the talent pool of skilled manpower at the local level, but they are also contributing at the macro and social level as students from the undervalued sections of the society learn valuable self-supporting skills that make them Yashasvi citizens. We appeal to decision makers at the highest level to make the most of this opportunity to partner with Yashasvi and create a real impact in the lives of those who deserve it most.
I think before concluding my session, I would like to thank my directors and my team members who are struggling and doing the huge work for the last 5 years. And I would like to also pay my gratitude to two gentlemen who are sitting here. One is Mr. Sudhir Phatak, who is an ex-general manager at Tata Motors. 15 years before he have conceived this concept, nobody could believe this, but this is a fact. And sitting to next is Mr. Sadanand Deshpande, who has worked on this idea. I am the only person who has developed and had taken to that level. But these are the two gentlemen who have really developed and conceived this concept. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I just forgot to mention that these three gentlemen, three panelists sitting with me, are people who have been the 3 out of the 5 that got selected by the NSDA for a skill innovation initiative that could be replicated through India. So these are the 3 of the 5 selected by NSDA for replicable models pan-India. So it's a very wonderful effort by Yashasvi and of course from Sanjogita, we're going to listen to her. And of course then Mr. Sabrinath. These are doable initiatives pan-India. So it's a great learning from them and how we can encourage and see that these models are taken forward. So I have Sanjogita now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sanjogita Mishra. I work for a university called Centurion University. This is a state university of Odisha. I'm coming from Odisha. And I'll have a brief introduction about the university and then probably talk about this award-winning model that we showcased for NSTA. Are the controls here? No. Yeah, presentation. Yeah, you can leave the controls to me. So we are a model of Centurion University and Gram Tarang. Gram Tarang is a private limited company which was the second NSDC partner. So the university has an arm into social enterprise which is called Gram Tarang, and we call it World of Hopes and Possibilities. The structure is like, Central University is Odisha's first private state university. So it has the same recognition as a state university, but it has funding from a private player. And we are multi-sector, multi-campus. Within Odisha, we have got 5 campuses. we were established through a Odisha legislative, through an act of Odisha Legislative Assembly in the year 2010. And we are the only university in the world that got recognition, that got a mention in United Nations for having inclusive education in the rights to education section. That is because we have a skill focus in our charter itself. That means the university, when it was thought of to include people who are not included in the regular educational system. Like ma'am was saying in this in the pre-lunch session, that there are so many people who are left out of the educational system because of the system itself, because none of their own faults or inabilities. So this is the structure of the university. There is, on one side, there is educational wing, which has all these schools of vocational education, school of engineering, school of management, school of agriculture, architecture, basic science, media, and some research arm. But along with that, there are social enterprises, which is Gram Tarang Employability Training Services, Gram Tarang Foods, Gram Tarang Financial Inclusion, and then there is Micro Business Center, School of Disaster Management. So what has happened is there is on one side academia, and on the other side there are companies owned by the university. And so this structure is enabling us to impart application-based education. For example, if there's an MBA from Centurion University, he's not taught about marketing or the 5 Ps in a classroom. He has to pick up a product which is done by the Micro Business Center and then sell it, market it in the real world. And that is how he earns his degree. So the structure of the university itself is enabling us to do application-based education. And we have special skill focus. That this is what I was saying, that initially in the charter itself, there was a focus on skill training, and that's why we take pride in calling ourselves a skill university. And right now we also have UGC approval to implement BWalk and NSQF. NSDC has partnered with the university itself for implementing training in the higher job roles. That means we integrate, we have a 4 credit course for each of the engineering students, compulsory in the curriculum itself, which is based on one of the job roles defined by some of the sector skill council. So within a span of 4 years of engineering, a person would have NSDC certificates or sector skill council certificates for at least 6 job roles. And if the basket is well thought of, then that would definitely lead towards employment. Professor Mukti Mishra, who's the founder of the university, the president of the university, was a speaker on July 15th. He was invited by the Prime Minister, and he addressed all the sector skill councils and all the chief ministers, and the Prime Minister himself was there in that meeting. And he was the only speaker from the academia and from Odisha as well. This is what I was telling you. So these are kind of programs we run. There are some regular diploma ITI programs, there are some industry-sponsored programs, and there are some government-aided programs. These are the areas of operation for Gram Tarang. And these are our partners, industry partners. Now, coming to this is the award-winning project. That is the one that got award in NSDA. Let me tell you frankly, there's nothing, I mean, none of this is going to really surprise you. You're not going to see any magic over here. You would probably wonder why they got the award. But I will come to it at the end of it as to why this model is replicable. And the fact is, it is replicable, and that's why they probably gave it an award. So, the first strategy is peer-to-peer learning. Somebody yesterday was mentioning very beautifully that they call these foreigners to India, and they give one skill to the foreigners, and there is one skill that the foreigners give to the rural women. So that is, this is not with the foreigners, but we do a peer-to-peer learning. Instead of having trainers or people from outside coming and telling people what to do, we just took okay, let me just tell you the background first. What is this project all about without going into the presentation? The project is actually that we adopted a slum. There's an urban slum in Odisha, and people would be scared to pass through that that area after it's dark because of antisocial activities that were going through. So why do these slums actually come into picture? Why do they get created? Because people from smaller places, smaller rural areas, they travel to these big cities thinking that they'll find employment. And do they find employment? Yes, they do. Is the employment enough for them to survive? No. And they have a family. And so what do they do? They are actually not gainfully employed. They do have a job, and but they have a family to support. They make these bastis. And that is where all the antisocial work starts. Because they can't really abide by all these regulations of a big city. They are not equipped enough to carry on with their regular lives in the big city, yet they just find themselves in the middle of so much chaos, and they have to find a way of surviving. And that's how these bastis get created. So the project actually involved adopting a particular basti in the urban city, in Bhubaneswar, which is the capital of Odisha. And then we designed a holistic approach of actually skilling them, giving them entrepreneurial skills, and making them survive in a respectable way, and then, cleaning up the society in that sense. So the first strategy that we used was peer-to-peer learning. And then the second one was hands-on training for enterprise setups. So they were actually taken to small-scale, modern, low-cost setups. Some machines were also given to them, and they were trained how to use those machines to packet spices or to make snacks. And I'll come to what all they do now. Then there was skill upgradation and apprenticeship on certain skills. There were some industry partners like Raymond's who came forward, and there were self-help groups that actually gave exposure to these women how to stitch garments. Then there was banking information and linkages given to us. So Gram Tarang itself has a unit called Gram Tarang Inclusive Development Services, which is the company into microfinance and the last mile connectivity. Plus there was other banks like Allahabad Bank, Canara Bank, who came forward, and they educated these slum dwellers about banking and about financial planning. Then there were children of these families. They were also taken into consideration in the whole ecosystem, and so they were also exposed to certain training programs like digital literacy, like how to use internet, or let us say what is YouTube, or how do you do a Google search, or how do you book your railway ticket. So these are some of the interventions that were done. There was yoga classes done for the these kids, and this is just a workshop layout that we have. So this is the impact. 235 slum dwellers registered in the micro business center and were provided with ongoing support. 350 slum dwellers opened their bank accounts. 50 women were provided training in tailoring. And 20 women were given exposure visits to spice production facilities. So haldi banana, ya moong dal ko process karna. 15 women provided MBC-based work linkage with local businesses. So after they learn these skills, are they capable enough to go and sell? Let us say you teach them how to make a snack. Are they capable enough to package it and then go find a buyer for themselves? No, they are not. So we also have to provide market linkages to them. So they are given a choice whether they would want to become entrepreneurs themselves, or they would want to work in the micro business center itself, which owns certain products, which owns certain lines of products, and they also have an outlet center. So there were 15 women given MBC-based work linkages with other local businesses. For example, somebody says, I don't have the ability to go and look for my client. I know how to stitch, but I can't go and look for a client who wants to have uniforms made. Because getting the order and actually delivering is a totally different skill set. And stitching is something totally different. So the micro business center helps to connect these such things, such dots, and enable people to actually also give their skills as a contract contractor. For example, somebody just knows how to package stuff, they can go and work in another organization for 2 hours and be paid for that. Or somebody knows how to stitch, they go and work in some organization, just stitch and get paid for that. So such linkages were created. 70 youth enrolled in digital training programs and 30 are currently being recruited. 30 children below age 12 currently enrolled in after-school digital learning program. And 15 male entrepreneurs were provided skill upgradation in welding and carpentry. In fact, the shed that Micro Business Center has was also put together by these slum dwellers only. The funding and expenditure, this is interesting. So we got 77 lakhs support from Government of Odisha for this project, 25 lakhs support from the university itself. So the land was given to us. The rest of the infrastructure had to be put together by the university. Then 5 lakhs was given by Australian government and 11 lakhs from Mindtree Foundation. And this is how we spent it. 85 lakhs for facility construction, 10 lakhs for salaries, wages, consulting fees, 4 lakhs for digital lab and classroom infrastructure, 7 lakhs for the equipment for tailoring, and so on and so forth. It's up there. But the good news is that today we are 100% self-sustaining. So this is a model that has worked in the sense, if you see these numbers, you might be wondering, itna paisa kharcha karke itne logon ko hi kiya help. So, but the idea is not this, to make a model work and make it self-sustaining is the success of the model. So I'd like to show you a small film. Actually, it's only a very small part of a film.
To train for manufacturing the international standard center. One of the path-breaking projects of the university is its Urban Microbusiness Center. Through this center, it advocates community development and entrepreneurship. Women from urban slums are skilled here to become self-employed in food processing, tailoring, and setting up their own cottage industry, while their children are educated and groomed side by side. The success of the Skill University has been achieved through a replicable model of research, planning, institutional building, industry linkage, and a grassroots connect with the community, along with loads of zeal, passion, and commitment. This is the only way to achieve skills with substance, scale with sustainability, and speed with stability. This is how Centurion Gram Tarang is impacting lives and empowering communities.
Yeah, but I just want to, I want to finish with something else. So just give me a moment. So today this particular initiative has all these things integrated in it. So we have, we started with sewing and stitching, then we went to snacks and spices. We run an entrepreneurship development program. That means we have an incubator. Anybody could come up with an idea to us and we will incubate that idea. We have a beauty and wellness center. We have meals on wheels. That means these women cook food and like dabbas in Mumbai that is delivered to people in offices. Off-school support for the children of these slum dwellers. Media printing and merchandising, meaning customized cups with your picture or envelopes and all that. We have driving learning, bakery, retailing outlet and cafe, and child care center and digital learning. So how a small little intervention has now grown up to have a have an impact in all the things that a family requires actually. We'll engage the man, we'll engage the woman of the family and the child as well. The key highlights are that transformation takes time, it doesn't happen overnight, it cannot be number driven, and it has to be a wholesome approach. When you try to conquer it from one side, you'll definitely lose the other side. For example, these, let's say PMKVY or STAR scheme, they're like quick schemes. And if you're trying to win a game from one side, you'll lose it from the other side. So it has to be a wholesome approach, and it has to be contextualized to a culture, geography, and society. And most importantly, I take pride in the last point, that transformation begins with the woman. So that's something that every skill development and the transformation of the society will actually happen only when you transform the women of the family. So thank you.
What better when you are a woman herself? So well done, ma'am. Now I'll request Mr. Sabrinath, who's present his experiment on skilling.
Good evening. So, through the last 2 days, we have heard of lots of challenges that we face in the skill development space. And how do we give equal access to every kind of person who wants to acquire a particular skill is an area that we have been working on. So if you look at the worker of the future, there is a high cost of not getting skilled. This Mr. Bhargava also mentioned this yesterday, that the cost of not skilling is far higher than the cost needed for training somebody. And today, possibly the cost of a mistake done by a worker is borne either by the employer or by the customer. And this is not a sustainable model. And to make that happen, we should have some method of measuring and giving a number to a skill, like we have in GMAT or CAT, such kind of exams. The challenge with practical skills is that while video conferencing and these massively online courses can teach things like textbook knowledge, it cannot teach things that have to be done by hands and practiced by hands. So how do we handle that? Can we build an equivalent platform for work that is done by hands? Could you please play the video? I'll show you a quick 2-minute video about what we have done.
Skillvary is about learning, but learning broadly has two categories, what is called the cerebral and the visceral. We build platforms that capture the body and eye movements of a person who is involved in a particular craft, and we map this against what an ideal skilled craftsman is supposed to do, and by correlating the two, we are able to pinpoint in real time what the person is doing right, what the person is doing wrong, what is the impact of what the person doing wrong is, how he or she should correct the movement, and in this manner we are able to provide in very short time, through multiple iterations that involve no cost, a very effective way of delivering skill training without requiring consumables or a physical trainer. The first product that we launched was to do with welding simulator, and we have targeted widely used industrial techniques of welding where there's an acute shortage.
It should address the school dropout. So the UI of the product has been designed in such a way that it does not depend on any text input. Anyone who has not used a high-tech device before can also very easily start adapting to this simulator device. So we have seen that it hardly takes 15 to 30 minutes for somebody to get familiar with the simulator.
సిమ్యులేషన్ అనేటువంటిది యాక్చువల్గా ఒరిజినల్గా మన వర్క్షాప్లో ఆన్ ద ఫ్లోర్ మనం చేయకుండా కాస్ట్ని మనం సేవ్ చేసుకోవడానికి ఇలాంటి సిమ్యులేషన్ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ మనం తీసుకున్నట్లయితే చాలా అమౌంట్ మనం సేవ్ చేసుకోవడానికి ఛాన్సెస్ ఉంటాయి.
Well accepted in the industry also. A number of leading industries have used our simulator and they find that it's a very, very cost effective tool for improving the quality of their personnel.
অ্যাঙ্গেল, স্পিড, পজিশন, স্টিক আউট সবকিছু আমাকে ডিসপ্লেতে দেখিয়ে দিচ্ছে যে তোমার এমনটা হচ্ছে। আমি সিমুলেটরে বিল্ডিং করে 85% ப்ராக்டிக்கலி খুব ভালো করেছে।
நம்ம பேசிக் எல்லாத்துக்கும் அவேர்னஸ் இருக்கணும் அப்படிங்கறத சிமுலேட்டர் வாங்கிருக்கோம். எடுத்து நம்ம கையில வந்து டார்ச் கொடுத்து ஒரு பீஸ் கொடுத்து வெல்ட் பண்ணனாகும், கம்பெனிக்கு லாஸ், டைம் வேஸ்ட், ரிஜெக்ஷன் ரிவர்ஸ், வாரண்டி, கஸ்டமர் கம்ப்ளைண்ட் அப்படியே சொல்லிட்டே போகலாம். கம்பெனிக்கு என்ன லாஸ் தான், டோட்டலா வந்து லாஸ். அப்போ கம்பெனி என்ன இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணி இது ஒரு பெனிஃபிட் யாருக்குன்னா உங்களுக்கு எல்லாம் பெனிஃபிட் கொடுத்து இந்த ட்ரைனிங் கொடுப்போம். ஒரு 50 பீஸ் டேரக்டா உங்களுக்கு சாம்பிள் கொடுக்கறத ஒரு 30 பீஸ் இதுல வெல்டிங் சாம்பிள் கொடுத்துட்டு அடுத்த 20 பீஸ் லைன் கொண்டு போவோம். அப்போ ஆட்டோமேட்டிக் என்ன ஆகும், ஒரு ஸ்கிராப் லெவல் கம்மியாகும்.
Could we come back to the presentation? So like you saw in the video that welding is the first skill that we have worked on. We are looking at other skills also. But if you look at welding skill in India, almost every training provider partner who have spoken here have said that finding students is a challenge. Though on the other hand, you have a whole lot of requirement for welding, people do not want to be a welder. The other challenge is that once you get the students into the training institutes, you find that you have very wafer thin margins. Because the cost of delivering a proper course in welding requires a lot of money. Once you execute the first 2 points, then placing them is not at all a challenge. So let us look at these aspects one by one. One of the studies that had been done by University of Pennsylvania was that mapping the industrial requirements to the aspiration of the youngsters in India, and you find that unfortunately, the bigger aspirations are in those sectors where there is very little need. And on the other hand, where there is lots of need, you find very little aspiration. So how do we change this mindset? The other thing, the moment I say welding, this is probably the kind of picture that comes to your mind. Somebody who works in very shabby conditions and earning very little money, possibly 4,000 rupees a month. Whereas, like Madam also said earlier on, I mean, this forms the 90% unorganized sector, and there are studies to show that if somebody is in the formal sector, then both the company and the person delivers 20 times more. So, how do we tell people that they can work in these kind of conditions and drawing salaries instead of drawing daily wages? So the approach we took towards helping our customers to mobilize more students was to work with them to create awareness, to let people know that welding as a skill is a high-paying skill. Not many people know that welders get a starting salary of 10,000 rupees if they are a CO2 welder. They get 15,000 rupees to start with if they are a TIG welder. And there are companies in the engineering sector which pay 80,000 rupees a month. And there are companies in the nuclear plant and submarine level where they pay 4 lakh rupees a month. So it could be much better than working in an IT company also, is something that people do not understand. The other thing is, many times the mobilization is focused on the capacity that a training center has built. So you have spare capacity, therefore students should come in and fill your seats, is the approach. Whereas what we should actually look at is, do the students have the aptitude required to go acquire that skill? One of our customers we helped in doing this is Auroville ITI in Pondicherry. What we did was, we took one of their buses, put the simulator on a bus, and went to villages and schools, and let the students try welding on the simulator, showed them a video about how welding is being done inside the factories. And on certain cases, whenever possible, we were able to bring in one person from the industry also to come and talk to the youngsters about how your life would be if you were to be employed with that company. So on the right side, you see a testimonial written by the principal of the ITI. So as a result of this campaign, we were able to get on-the-spot admissions for a course that they were unable to fill otherwise. So So how do we meet the need that the industry has? It is well summarized in those pictures you see on the right side. Typically, what the industry expects is the picture on the left, and what the output of a training center is able to give is the picture on the right. And therefore, this leads to rejections, this leads to rework and loss of productivity. So how do we have an intervention which solves all these problems? And as a skill, welding, like I said, requires a lot of practical training, and practice is costly. Therefore, a training center tends to reduce the practical hours to save on money. And therefore, you will have students who are poorly skilled but are certified. And therefore, the industry starts not to trust the certificates that are there in the market. And this puts further pressure on the pricing for the training center, and then it goes into a negative loop. How do we come out of this? So conventional methods of training alone may not be solving it because of the high costs involved. So somewhere we have to bring in a digital mechanism which takes away about 60% or 70% of the practical training and gives a better quality of training. At the same time, does not avoid what cannot be taken away from the practical. So we broke down welding as a skill into measurable skill components, and like for welding, it is the path that somebody has to weld, the speed of the hand movement, the distance from the surface of the job, and the angle of holding the torch. So once you practice on the simulator, you get scores on these skills. And while you practice, you get feedback. Now, how far are you away from the surface of the weld? What is the speed that you're moving? Or what is the angle that you're having in the torch? And also after the weld, you get analysis which is equivalent to radiographic tests, which in real life are much costly and take a lot of time also to get the results on. And these results, we correlate them to the quality that an industry would expect you to have. So when somebody is welding and has given a piece, then industry would look for how good is the penetration, is the bead uniform and right, are there what is called as spatters, there shouldn't be spatters, there shouldn't be porosity, there shouldn't be gaps. So these quality angles that the industry looks for, and how the skills are, skills of the welder is, how they are interlinked, is also shown. And we want to invert the entire method of approach to practical training. In the regular approach, we give practice to a person till he does it right. Instead, we should keep on giving him practice till he can't get it wrong. Even if you wake him up from sleep and then put him to weld, he should do it right. So in the last 2 years since we went commercial, we have been able to get these industrial groups to buy our simulator and use them in their internal training programs. In training centers, we have these training centers, including LaborNet, which is an NSDC partner. Rajasthan government has announced the use of these simulators in their ITIs. Honorable Minister for HRD has announced to put up these simulators in 100 Kaushal Vikas Kendras across the country. The National Weld Meet, which is the annual meeting of all welding experts in the country, was last year inaugurated by striking an arc on the simulator instead of lighting the lamp. We are also very close to getting an international order. This is Dr. Suresh, who is the former head of WRA Trichy. WRA is Welding Research Institute, and this is part of BHEL in Trichy. And he's somebody who has seen and evaluated simulators from across the world, and he has said that this is the best simulator that he has ever seen. So in some way, we are helping Make in India also happen. So for this work, we have got the award from NSDC for innovation under the innovation category. Been selected by NSDE under Skill Innovation Initiative, which is the reason why I am here today. This is a fully indigenous technology developed by us together with IIT Madras. The main reason why we were able to have these customers in such a short time is because we were able to prove value at the shop floor level. If somebody uses my simulator to train a welder, then at the shop floor he shows a significant improvement in making less mistakes and having a higher productivity. So if I look at how do we go forward in the future, I think we should have more such simulators. There should be more such companies who come out with such kind of tools for practical skill training. And you should have simulators for all kinds of manufacturing skills, including spray painting, forklift operator, crane operator. And just like the way when in the late 90s and early 2000s, we had the internet cafes kind of making internet accessible to people who could not afford computers. Similarly, can we have skill cafes which will have multiple simulators and multiple instruments which will let you try out maybe a skill for half an hour for free, and then if I like, say, spray painting, then I should be able to purchase a per hour course maybe in the evenings. And that way, can we have a method where I can acquire a skill? I'm talking of it from the point of view of the aspirant of a skill. I'm not talking from an industry point of view. And to since all this is digital, the data is captured digitally, so you can link it to Aadhaar and other methods where you ensure non-duplication of certificates. And this can become an equivalent for the Coursera kind of approach, the video conferencing and e-learning kind of approach for the text knowledge. So with the right kind of policy support, it is quite possible to have 10,000 such kind of ITIs latching onto existing infrastructure, then adding only the incremental tools that are needed at less than 10 lakh rupees per location investment, and can train annually 1 lakh people. So I think this is the only way in which we can realize the dream of making India the skill capital of the world. Thank you very much.
I think we heard the grassroots work done by Gram Karang, and then we had this technology-driven activity by Skillveri, and of course the overall work done by Yashasvi. We have had great panelists who spoke of their experiment and their work. We have precisely 3 questions because we are running out of time to these 3 panelists, and then probably we'll start off with the next session on the World Skill competition and the winners of those medallions of excellence. They will be here with us as to how they won, how they practiced till they did not go wrong. That is what we're going to hear from them. So 3 questions we would take, and then we will request the next panelist to come up. Yes, ma'am? It's shortage of time, so 3 questions to 3 panelists to sort of sum up what is thought by the audience there.
So my question...
You are quite audible.
So my question is to you. You told that you have 15,000 students in Learn While You Earn model. So how much time did you take to have tie-ups with these industries? And it's the industries who are paying them the stipend, what I understand from this model. So what skills did you have or your institute put to convince these industries to engage these, because apprenticeship is such a model which is not working, but Learn While You Earn, as you told, is working. So one, I would like to know a bit in details about this thing. Second, my question is to Skillveri.
Ma'am, we can take one question at a time, so we have someone else. Okay.
So what is the cost of your welding simulator? That is one. And how is your welding simulator different from the other welding simulators which are available in the market?
I think here the industry is getting benefited because they are developing the second line, and they are able to judge the people when they are working with them for 3 to 4 years. I think that is the main, you can say, marketing part of it, where industry is happy to spend on that. I never seen industry saying that we don't spend. The only thing, they need a right project, and they should get the benefit. Industry is basically for the business, so they should get some benefit. They are ready to pay, and I think that's the reason why it is working.
Hello. The cost of training using my simulator is about 2/3 less than cost of training using real equipment. So if it costs you about 15 to 20,000 to train somebody to an industry expected level, it would cost only 5,000 rupees to train somebody on this simulator. And second, how is it different from the all other simulators? Actually, I could run an entire presentation on that. I would spend some time with you one-on-one. But essentially what we have done differently is that instead of mimicking a welding machine and then making something that is exactly like a welding machine, what we took differently in the design approach to it is to put the welder, the learner, at the center of the design, and look at how would a welder look at the spark and hear the welding sound and adjust his hand movements, and what kind of inputs does a fresh learner need to get to have a proper learning in place. So instead of using very costly, complex technology, so comparable simulators across the world come from about 3 times to 10 times the cost of my simulator. And the difficulty has been that even companies in India which have been able to afford those simulators have not been able to see results from these simulators. After you train somebody on the simulator, they're not able to weld properly. So because of the way in which we designed the product with the learner in the center of the design, we were able to deliver much better results on the shop floor.
I think you have managed to scout the question as to what is your cost of your simulator.
Yeah.
She would like to know that, Aman, unless you really don't know it.
The challenge when I operate in India, I'm somebody who consciously chose to remain in India when I could have sold far more number of simulators abroad. So the moment I say the cost, they'll say, "Bahut mehenga hai."
No, skilling is expensive. Everybody knows that. All sitting here are aware. So don't worry. Give your cost. It's the cost.
Yeah. The question for simulator.
So the cost ranges from 8 lakh rupees to 15 lakh rupees.
That is cheap. Don't worry.
To put in perspective, 1 year of a real welding machine-based training costs you 12 lakh rupees. And therefore, nobody trains on actual plates. They compromise on the actual delivery. And comparable simulators from abroad are 25 lakh to 2 crore in price.
I think he's answered the question well.
One more
the cost
question
is not
for-
very well. Last question, please.
Question for simulator.
Okay.
Yeah, how many welds are being simulated? Say, we can say overhead welding.
Sir, you have an expert on welding, so he needs to know how many welds.
So, if I go into the technical specs, you have 1G, 2G, 3G, 1F, 2F, 3F, 4G and 4F, butt weld, V-joined, fillet, anything that's required to take a welder from nowhere to an entry level to mid level skill in an automotive, shipbuilding or heavy engineering industry. It will not straight away take you to the 4 lakh rupee salary level of welder, because that needs about 10 years of experience, but it will ensure that you have good foundations which will ensure you at least a 10 to 20,000 rupee kind of salary after you train.
No, the question is very precise. The simulator is shown to be in a front like this, and the welding is done like this. So it is normally done downpour welding.
For brevity's sake, I had cut out the video portions which have the other positions also. It is available, just that in the video it has not been shown.
Okay.
It is available. Downhand, horizontal, vertical, overhead, all are available.
Thanks a lot.
I think two experts from the same field probably can interact individually one-to-one. I think we had a lovely session on 3 experiments in skilling and the work they are doing. I think we need to give a big applause to them all. These are replicable models, so here are people who want to skill India, so I think you can talk to them one-on-one and take this way forward. Thank you very much, all of you. We take the next session on.
Thank you, Mr. J.P. Shroff, Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni, Sanjogita, and Mr. Sabrinath. We would like to invite on stage the winners of the World Skill Competition recently held in Brazil. Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni as the expert and Mr. Sachin as the competitor for welding. Is Mr. Sachin here?
Yeah, both of them are there. Please, can they be requested? Probably they are outside. Sachin and Vishwesh. I think, gentlemen, they are wearing the India colors. I think they need an applause when they come here. This is our Pune boy. Am I right, Sachin? We'll need two more chairs. 8 chairs.
The second winner as Mr. J.P. Shroff as the expert and Mr. Parshuram and Mr. Samir Belwarkar as the competitor in the bricklaying competition.
I was the expert, but I have an interpreter who's going to present this. So I have Mr. Parshuram Nayak, who is a 5th standard learned fellow from Telangana, who beat the best of the world. There he is. He beat the people from Germany, America, you name them all, please come. And I have my interpreter, Samir Belwarkar, who's going to speak about our experiment in training.
Mr. Parag is a jewelry expert. Mr. Parag is here.
Yeah, Mr. Parag, unfortunately, his competitor, Mr. Surajit Rana, could not make it. So it was a very short notice, but I'm glad these people, he's come from Indore all the way. Mr. Parag, please.
Mr.
I think he
Parag.
needs an applause.
And Mr. Satish Narayan as the expert for graphic design.
This gentleman is also from Pune, so we have 3 people from Pune. Satish is a graphic designer from an ex-Reliance Ames man. He's the only person here amongst us who's been winning medallions for the last 2 years. So a great job done for India. Well done. Welcome, Satish.
May I request Dr. Anand Sir Deshmukh to felicitate all the winners of the World Skill Competition. First, Mr. J.P. Shroff.
No, I think the applause. Anyway, I'll take it.
Mr. Vishwesh.
His competitor?
Yeah, Mr. Vishwesh and Sachin.
Sachin.
Samir Belwarkar. Parshuram is here on stage.
Yeah, Parshuram.
Parshuram. Mr. Parag. Mr. Satish Narayanan, the graphic designer.
Yeah, they're all.
Okay. Over to you, Mr. Shroff.
Yeah, friends, we were there in Sao Paulo till the 16th of last month, that is August 10th. 16 days we were together, competing with the best in the world. Trust me, it was an experience far beyond what you people could imagine also. Each trade represented by a country, we were a contingent of 100 people from the Indian side. And we were there when we saw the levels of skill that each of them have achieved, and particularly countries like Brazil, which we consider as the upcoming developing countries, amazing effort into getting the country skilled up. So, but all the same, I'm really proud that there were 8 medallion winners from our country. We've not been there too many times, too often. We've just started going to the World Skill. World Skill is something like the Skill Olympics. It happens every 2 years. The last one was at Leipzig, Germany. This one was at Sao Paulo, Brazil. And the next one is supposed to be at Abu Dhabi in 2017. The way things are moving and the way NSDC and the Skill Ministry is taking up the initiative, trust me, and the effort of all the great people here who are sitting there, it's not too far that India will come with lots of gold and silver medals. So I would like these people here, sitting here with me, who really work with their competitors. Each one is an expert and a competitor. You know what happens in World Skill? Each expert is given a competitor whom it trains over the next 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 years, depending on when the selection of the competitor is done. He spends great amount of his time teaching him the basic skills, making him absolutely, you know, as they said, practice it so long that you don't do it wrong at all. So, and the measurements are to the last mm. The expectations of skilling in bricklaying, trust me, this boy was able to get it to the last mm, and when you see what he was made to do, you will be proud of what India could do. So these are the couple of great people with me. I'm proud that I'm chairing this session, and they'll speak about their experiments and their efforts to make young boys who are nearly 19 and 21 years. The limitation of age is 21. And skilling in India, unfortunately, doesn't start till 21. So it was a great difficulty getting these young boys who are just 20 and 21 years to come and be trained to levels of international standards. So what I will do is I'll begin with Mr. Parag, who's an expert and a member of the Gems and Jewelry Sector Skills Council, a very learned man and ex-IIT Powai graduate, is a doctorate also. He's from Gram Bar Design, and he will speak on his efforts on training his candidate called Surajit Rana, who's not here, as to how he could get him to the level of the best in the world. I present to you Mr. Parag. I think he needs an applause, please.
I just need some help with the PowerPoint.
Can I have Kapil Trimal also on the dais? Is he here around? Yeah, please.
Perfect. Good afternoon. I'll be very brief, approximately 3 to 5 minutes. These slides are full of pictures, so it will not tax the post-lunch session. I have titled it Journey because it's not a one-day effort or it's not a 4-day effort that you do in the country, but it is spread over 2 years. Part of it is preparation by the expert and part when the candidate comes in. In World Skill, basically what World Skill does, we must be wondering, there was a question in the previous session, so much of money is spent on one person. And that's a question that keeps on coming in all kind of skill development things. So World Skill gives you excellent opportunity to benchmark yourself against the best in the world. Second purpose is to attract young talent, and it's a very pertinent question for the industry. We all have, the life itself is finite and productive years are even less than that. So by attracting young talent, we improve the productive life of a person by several years. In the domain of jewelry, typically it takes 25 years for someone to become basic. If we can cut down 5 years from that, productive years up to 40 becomes 20. It's just a very simple, clear, direct application in industry. And it encourages exchange of ideas. Candidates learn different ways of doing the same thing. I'm going to present a lot of pictures. This is typically where the arena is, where this is a picture of World Skill Arena. Candidate prepares for a year just to participate here for 4 days. So it's a very, very long journey, and I'm going to take some time in taking you through the journey. So this was the road leading to Sambadrome, and it was a 2-kilometer road which was covered, and different areas were assigned to different candidates and different skills. During the competition, it is a charged event. It's a very, very competitive event. People are given, you can see the lines are marked. Experts cannot cross that line. Those who were experts till yesterday, when they go to arena, they become jury members, and then no longer they enjoy the privilege of being in proximity to their candidates or being favorable to them. They are international jury. And you have also the moment of fun, as you can see from the picture. This is the picture on the concluding day. And then in between a lot happens, exchange of ideas, level of a skill of a country represented there, and so many things. You also have interaction. As you can see, the Brazilian expert is actually sitting on the floor to make the candidate comfortable. So different people have different styles, manners, and people learn a lot of things in 4 days. I have been to 3rd World Skill. In every World Skill, I learn so many new things. It's a grand event. It doesn't get bigger than this on face of earth. It's just like Olympics, like JP sir said, it doesn't get bigger than this. So we can see our candidates marching through where both sides, the national flag is there and the contingent is marching in between. We also have different teams showing different talents, and there are other events that spike the opening ceremony. Competitors during these 4 days learn a lot from not only their masters, but when they see somebody is doing something in a way, it is immediately picked up by others. So experts are also on the watch to learn things, and every time we come back, we make our notes and we incorporate ideas that can save either time or effort. The journey of Surajit Rana, my boy is presently going to Calcutta. He is in transit as we speak. He has been living with me for a year. How many years it takes for a person to become efficient? It's a very simple mathematics. In our skill, it's 10,000 hours. How you do it, it's up to you. With a good master, you can shave off 2,000 hours by removing wasteful movements or maybe iterative things. But still that much is required. So in 1 year, I had a task of packing 2 years. We used to work in a double split way. I would come to training, and you can see this is our laboratory where we train the candidates. I train only 2 candidates in 1 year. And hopefully now I will get 2 years to train. And you can see the lab where everything is made according to the anthropometric measurements of the candidates. So workbench is a extension of the candidate's work envelope. And as you can see from the front image in the bottom, that they work in a double split day. They start the work very early in the morning, then take a rest in the afternoon and work again for extended hours in the evening. This is the way we compress time. We had a task, a huge task, because it doesn't matter how much money you put in, but time is not compressible. So morning for activity, afternoon for a little rest, evening you work again, early evening you do a little cross-referencing, and late night you again work, and thereby sometimes by double splitting we manage to get 10 plus hours every day, sometimes 11 with good luck. It also was a good opportunity to take the candidate to Oceania. By participation, the chances of winning improve, and we can see in the center picture, Oceania was a very good event. He got exposure of competing in a national in India, and international first was New Zealand. After that, nothing succeeds like success. Like JP sir says, and I'm really sold to the idea that once you make the candidate believe in themselves, the success is self-sustaining. They got a very good welcome when they returned, and the top picture, as you can see, the smile on his face after long hours of toil is the medallion of excellence. I would again borrow from JP sir that these boys coming from humble backgrounds, they have really made their mark felt, and I can tell you, if India can do this, the day is not far when we will get medals. But I'm a very conservative person, so we will talk after getting medals, not before. Industry also always wants to know. There was one question that industry is willing to pay, but they would like to know, and that's exactly what WorldSkill does. It reduces wasteful movements. If I have struck a bell in industry's ears, lot of movement in the skilled areas are wasteful. So what it does, it makes you train your candidate to reduce wasteful movements. The work is very organized, and it defeats a common popular belief that good work and commercially viable work are different. It's a living proof that these candidates produce in 22 hours exceptional pieces. The repeat accuracy of the process is heightened, and the outcome of an effort is predictable. And that is what all of us are always struggling for, predictable outcomes. And by this, the candidates go in a very high focus application of efforts. It becomes very efficient. For the candidates who are participating, it's a reward. Medal is just one aspect. The training itself is a reward. Medal is just maybe an hour of an event, and then maybe 1 year, next year there will be another winner. But for individual, the best gain is they get to benchmark their processes and procedures. If they learn, they can take it to industry directly. It's an excellent opportunity for them where the candidates are given time. They go and learn from other trades. Within the trade, they learn different ways of doing the same thing. And then later on, they know more than one way, so they become more dexter. Then they have a comparison directly, the approach you have taken and a nearest competitor has taken, how those approaches affect the end result. And the outcome is what finally decides everything. And besides this, it has a very, very big spiritual advantage. It dissolves your ego in no time. Thank you.
He's added the spiritual angle to skilling, so he says it is a skilled young man and experts who are part of the industry. So there we are on the same platform fighting for a medal. So it's a different ballgame completely. Trust me, you really become, it's meditation. It's 22 hours that he's given 3 modules which he has to complete. And when the young boy who's come from villages like Telangana just looks at the entire atmosphere, people like us get awed. But this boy is there, he's overwhelmed, but he's competing against best, and they've done a wonderful job. Now I'm asking Samil Belwalkar, who's an interpreter, who was there with us for the bricklaying team, and who was there at Sao Paulo, to speak about our training activity for Parshuram, who's sitting next to me. So Samir is going to speak on what we did for getting this young boy to the level which thus come so far.
Hello everybody. On behalf of Kushal, I thank everybody for appraising the work done by all these medallion winners. When I say Kushal, let me tell you, Kushal is a training institute which imparts training in construction skills. And two of our candidates had been to World Skills for competition. One was Parshuram Nayak, who won a medallion in bricklaying, and other was in wall and floor tiling, who also completed the test project successfully, couldn't win a medallion though. The journey, as Mr. Parag said, is always different for everybody, and for Kushal it was still tough because Kushal, the routine activity of Kushal is to impart training in 6 construction trades, and we never aimed at training somebody for a competition, let alone a world competition. But when the Skill Ministry and NSDC insisted on India participating in World Skills in construction sector for the first time, the responsibility was given to Kushal, and we, having not even heard of what World Skills is 1 year before, took up the challenge, and here's where we are now. So can we have the film run for the audience, please?
गलियों में राशन की फलियों में बैलों में बीजों में ईदों में बीजों में रेतों के दानों में फिल्मों के गानों में सड़कों के
टीकम सिंह 21 साल, आप राजस्थान के किसान परिवार से हैं। हमेशा सपने देखते थे विदेश जाने का। आपके कौशल ने आपका सपना सच कर दिया। आपने दीवार और फर्श में, टाइलिंग में ओशियाना न्यूजीलैंड में कांस्य पदक जीता। परशुराम नायक, तेलंगाना, आयु 19 साल, आपने न्यूजीलैंड में बेहतरीन ब्रिक लेइंग में कांस्य पदक प्राप्त किया। अब तो आप वर्ल्ड स्किल्स प्रतियोगिताओं में ट्रेनर बनना चाहते हैं।
This is the proof we can do world-class job. No doubt about it. What it takes is proper selection of candidates and training. One question that we have always been asked, and I think many of you also have it, what is the use of all this? Spending time and money. What does a competition do for overall industry? Is there a point in spending so much of money and time and resources for training for competitions? Well, the answer is, of course, it does a lot many things. Especially in my skill, when we went there and interacted with many of the experts from all over the globe, the one difference we observed that they all came with their own industry standards. They all came with their industry practices, which already were there in the boys who competed there. And for us, we wanted to take the competition experience, the competition standards, the competition practices, and now we want to get it back here to the industry so that the industry standard goes up. There's something we can bring to the industry from the competition and not the other way around. So that is the biggest benefit. It could be in terms of higher productivity. It could be in terms of lesser wastages. Of course, for productivity and wastages, there are set norms, but accuracy, the kind of accuracy we had to produce there, I mean, the competitors had to produce, is not seen in the industry here. So that is one thing we can bring here to increase the overall industry standard. That is one definite benefit we can see. It is, of course, the collective responsibility of all of us, not only us, but all of us, to have career paths for these competitors, successful competitors, so that, as far as my skill is concerned, I should see a 17 or 18-year boy saying, I want to be a bricklayer. I have to set an example of Parshuram Naik in such a way that an 18-year boy wants to become a bricklayer. If you ask me now whether, I don't know any young boy who wants to become a bricklayer. Nobody even knows what a bricklayer is. So there is a vast gap that needs to be bridged between these trades, the world standard, and what our industry needs. This can be achieved because of these competitions. This is what is our take on participating in competitions. In Indian context, I can give you an analogy of Saina Nehwal. Maybe we have Saina Nehwals only once in a 50 years time, but then there are 50,000 young girls inspired to take up badminton and do something. So can we have such examples in all sectors where maybe these boys, we don't win medals every other competition, but still there are examples where young children, 18, 17-year boys, girls can look up to and say, yes, I want to become a welder, I want to become a bricklayer, whatever. So that is the role of a world skill competition. We have to, that is what we interpreted for Kushal, and this is what we'll be trying, not only for Brazil, Abu Dhabi, whatever it comes in the future. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, those models of Brazil and the Pele T-shirt had 1 mm of measurements to be taken, and the whole thing was protruding by 5 mm, 3 mm, 10 mm, and that was achieved by this young boy. So I think India did a wonderful job. Now I have Mr. Vishwesh, and he's going to speak about his tradings from Mahindra vehicles, and his young man, Sachin Narale, got a medal for welding, so he will share his experiences. His presentation sort of got lost in the technology thing, so he'll speak from his heart. That's Vishwesh here.
Hello friends. Hello friends. This journey is started with me in 2011. When I hearing there is one international competition with world skill. After that, some learnings from 2013, I prepare a base and teach to the Sachin. In 2000, the Parag sir is saying that 10,000 hours is required for the candidate to train perfect skill candidate. But we start in 2014 August for the regional competition. Then January 2015 15 we select for the final selection of the world skill. After that, he got opportunity to New Zealand for Oceania. In welding, there is 18-hour task, and in 18-hour task, there are 4 tasks are there, and this is one for the coupons in all positions and different types of processes, mixing of different types of processes. And second task is for pressure vessels, and in pressure vessels, it is a task, the competitor is putting the job on the table and rotating in 360 degree around the table, but not in opposite, and then the base plate is always on the table, and he weld all the joints and complete it, and after that he pass a 70 bar pressure and there is a 0 leakage, then he get the marks. After that, one task is for an SS structures, and then the aluminum. Then all 3 different type of metals, and 21-year-old boy, he achieved all the quality parameters. It is very difficult to achieve this in our industries or in our institutes. After that, when he coupons, weld the coupons, he passed the radiography test, bend test, in pressure vessel, in pressure test, in aluminum, he is at 90% penetration is required. We saw the aluminum, there is no chamfering, nothing. With the 3 mm thick plate, he welded it and got the penetration 90% in all joints. Same as a standard steel, he get the 90% penetration, he got the marks with the 2 mm plates. There is no distortion, and with all this visual inspections, in 18 hours he complete the task, and then he show in every time, he show to the other experts, this is my task, inside I am not tagging, this is the task, this I will not do this. Every time there is other experts in world skill. When we start the training of this, he trained in Chennai. There is a temperature of 48 to 45 degree, and he doing the welding every 1 hour. He sweat and change his clothes. There is in world skill there is a difficulty of food also. We start training on food also. Okay, you eat food which we got in Brazil or other countries. Morning he wake up and walk 4 kilometers to fit it, and yogas, concentrating on the job only, and nothing, he will not seen here and there. So many persons come and attract him, Sachin, what are you doing? But he is not losing his concentration and continue doing the welding. Every day he work 8 to 10 hours welding, and then the result is he got the 7th rank in world, and he also got the Best of Nation award. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I forgot to mention, each country has a Best of Nation award in which is given to the boy who gets the maximum marks. And this was given to Sachin Narale, and that's Sachin here, so I think he needs an applause. He's got the highest marks in all the Indian contingent. And though Vishwesh was not able to do a presentation in the film, but I think he spoke his heart out as to what efforts are required, right from the food to physical training to getting the minimum, the pressures of that vehicle to whatever pressure they tested. I'm not a welding expert, but all that was achieved to the best of the world standards. So this is one more achievement. Now I'll request Satish Narayan to speak about his experiment in graphic designing. I think that's the last presentation. Then I think we'll have some 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll conclude this. Yeah, 3 minutes only. Satish, you have 3 to 4 minutes only.
So that's the advantage of being last, I think. Very good evening to all of you. My presentation is going to be on graphic designing. I think it doesn't require any introduction, because anything to do with business card to big hoarding designs, you require a designer. But when it comes to world skills, it's totally different, because they're the parameters in which they've been judged as more on the creative aspect and as well as the technical aspects. Each and every design which he does, the person needs to understand on which platform it is going to be printed on. Basically, it is on a plastic bottle or on a hoarding, whatever material it is going to be printed on. Accordingly, he needs to set the technical parameters. So there are more than 250 parameters in which every test is being evaluated actually. Okay, so Mr. Parag and Vishwesh, everybody spoke about the competition during the competition. My presentation is slightly what it requires to reach to that level, and how do you prepare a candidate who can win medals. So this is just because I've been to a couple of world skills. This is my 4th year. So we have done a lot of research and survey. Accordingly, I've made my presentation. You see, our journey started almost a year before. June, we've started hunting the talent. The regional competitions held in multiple states in India, and we had almost about 89 candidates for the regional level. And from there, we did a lot of marketing and promotion to get these things. We went to design schools, design colleges, and created awareness and made them enroll. And again, Mr. Shoroff has mentioned about the age criteria. It has to be 21. At the age of 21, getting a skills with 3-4 softwares like Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, it's very, very difficult. That too, you should be expert in that. And you should be equally qualified technically also. That's slightly difficult. Half the people will get rejected purely because of that, because they are just learning. They've just entered into that particular field. It was very difficult. So then we had, after the regional competition, we have selected the top 10 regional winners. These what you see, and we had the national competition on 6th and 7th of October 2014. From that national competition, so we had Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, who has inaugurated the national competition. Slide video is about. I'll just show you the video.
We are running out of time. So.
Okay, I'll just skip the video then. So 3 candidates has been chosen for the national finals, and national finals we had in Pragati Maidan Stadium. So these 3 students, they have undergone ad agency internship. There is various levels of training. After that, they have been competed at the national finals in Pragati Maidan. They've got the industry training also, how the printing technology works, all this. So this is the national winner. My candidate, unfortunately, he couldn't come because he is from NIT Trichy. Another thing which I would like to share is, like most of the world skills international competitors, they're all from the design school background. Unfortunately, in India, still the awareness is not there, and we are getting students from different places. This particular student is from NIT Trichy. He's doing B.Tech, and out of passion, he has learned graphic designing, and then he stood the national winner. So the big challenge, the candidate went to Trichy for his final exam preparation, lost his focus, no time to prepare for the Oceana. So during 13th and 17th of April, we went to Oceana Skills, like you have seen, bricklaying competitor was also there. There were 5 candidates. Apart from India, we had China, New Zealand, Australia. Candidates were there. So he stood 5th position. He scored 54 out of 100, and we couldn't win any medal. So that, as an expert, it rang a bell for me, and even for the candidate, it's a first ever international exposure. So what we did is, so this is what the positions, the Chinese won the gold medal, Australian won the silver and the bronze, then India was on the 5th position. So what we did after that is the story. Like, we came back, we hardly have only 3 months to prepare him for the Brazil. Because if he is scoring 54, in World Skills Brazil, there were 34 different countries, 34 candidates is going to compete. So if he scores 54, he'll be nowhere in 20th position or 21st position. So we came back and we get the marking sheet of Oceania. So we did a lot of analysis of different criteria, how our competitor have scored and what is this losing pattern. So you can see these is module-wise, different module-wise, module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, how many marks that he has lost, how much he could have scored, the critical analysis which we have done. So he scored 54.98, whereas the total marks possible that he can win is 84 he can score. So accordingly, we standardized the whole training aspects of it. The training required to be on a different skill sets. So we've designed the training. And then these are various parameters on which we have trained the candidates during June and July. So we came back and the training started from June and July, only 2 months. Second week of August is the Brazil competition. And this is what you can see, different types of trainings which has been happening in Pune. So this is the competition area. Like in our skills, it is more like workstations will be given, each and every candidate should perform. And then we welcome everybody. The same day, first day's module has been evaluated on the same day and the marks has been announced. Similarly, all 4 days, we announced the marks. So finally, what we could do is, you can see that same 5 candidates, they were there in Brazil also. The Chinese, she stood 5th position, and the Australian, who was in the second silver medal, he was on the 15th position. And again, New Zealand, he was on the 3rd position, he's on the 17th position. So our candidate, he stood 9th position, and we could win medallion of excellence. So all the other candidates, most are from the design schools. They have 4 years of a university in China. They have in Australia, Sydney University is doing a design degree courses. So competing with these kind of a candidates and winning a medal is like each and every parameters you need to look at it. Similarly, like bricklaying, jewelry designing, there are various parameters. So you need to prepare a candidate mentally also, even physically, like Mr. Vishwesh was telling, we taught them yoga, we made them wake up 6 o'clock in the morning and just do some physical exercise, because there it is going to be routine of 8 to 12 hours kind. So accordingly, we prepared the candidate and we could win the medal. So this is our candidate. Thank you.
Excellent. So, Manjali, no questions. I don't think there is questions. They have proven what they have achieved. So let's stop it here. So I'll say thank you to all my panelists. I think they need an applause, and then we'll start off with the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. J.P. Shroff, and once again, congratulations to the winners of the World Skill Competition. From here, we move on to the next session. A presentation by Dr. Captain C.M. Chitle. He's going to make a presentation on the ex-serviceman rehabilitation case study. May I invite Professor Chitle on the stage. Dr. Captain Chandrasekhar Chitle is a professor with Pumba and IEC Director of EMRC. He is an expert in HRD. Mr. Chitle is a professor and a passionate teacher. With his defense background, he has corporate experience along with teaching, consultancy, and research. He has worked extensively in the area of entrepreneurship development. May I request Dr. Anand Sir Deshmukh to welcome him with a memento. Over to Professor Chitle.
Yeah. Good evening. I know this is this is the last session of the day. I'll not talk for 15 minutes. I'll cut 5 minutes. Thank you. This is something unique program what we are doing for disabled soldiers. So I thought that I should share that because I consider this is also a skill development initiative. I'll just go through all the slides, but wherever I want to stress a point, I'll talk about that, but I will not show you all the slides. This is Queen Mary Technical Institute, founded by Lady Mary in Wellington, somewhere in 1917. Being a trustee, I'm an elected trustee of this particular institute. About 7 years back, University of Pune and my department, Department of Management Sciences, we initiated this diploma in industrial administration and services management. I'll talk about that little while. And there are different courses being conducted. I will not talk on that because all these courses are for skill enhancement for the rehabilitation of disabled soldiers. Now, this is our social initiative. We don't charge a single penny to QMTI or to these candidates. My colleagues and my students, when they are teaching to this particular program, they are not taking any honorarium. Why this particular program? I myself was a disabled soldier. Way back in 1977, during my commando course, I met with an accident and sustained disability. But when I look up to these disabled soldiers, when they are losing their leg, hand, because of the mine blast and all that, or bullet shot across the border, such people are below officer's rank. I thought that I should do something for them. And for last 7-8 years, we are conducting this particular program. And the results are quite good. We cover a lot of management subjects. I will not talk about that because time is too short. What are the responses of these soldiers after going through this particular program? Help develop confidence, because these are the soldiers, basically disabled soldiers. The first and the foremost, objective is to take them out of traumatic situation. This provided knowledge of civil life, personality development, develop interest in economic environment, so on, so forth. The outcome of this particular program, last year we got an opportunity to conduct 3 entrepreneurship development programs. This was given by Army Commander, Southern Command. I'll talk about that a little more. We conducted a survey. We went in a phased manner, conducted a survey across the industry also before we starting this diploma, and for conducted survey for this ex-servicemen. We try to understand what type of skills they are having and what type of skills are required to be enhanced. I will not go because this is just a research, but then I'll just go quickly to the findings. I'll just share my experiences. Now, when we talk about entrepreneurship development cycle, there is a stimulus activity, then comes sustenance and support. I think this entrepreneurship development program for these disabled soldiers as well as ex-servicemen or soldiers coming out of army helped them to have stimulus. Because we conducted this program for about 140 people. And after the program, being a researcher, we tried to find out what exactly they are doing. Out of about 70 people, 70 ex-servicemen contacted on telephone, we came across about 27 soldiers started some business activity. I think that is what a good, I will say, achievement of this particular program. Yesterday, I got a call from Bangalore, an ex-serviceman, and he wanted my time, but I could not give him time because I was busy in some other conference. He wanted to talk to me, sir, I want a capital because he has some project on windmill and he was talking about cost saving and all that. I said, I'll come to you, you can talk to me on Monday and we'll do this. It's not only just conducting a program, but our initiative that we want to give them support. Because unless and until some support is there for such budding entrepreneurs, they will not be successful in their endeavors. One more case, one Naik Subedar by name Pritam Singh. He was, what he was doing, he was getting potatoes from Agra and selling in the Nasik market, and taking onion from Nasik and selling in Agra market. In this particular activity, he started earning about 60 to 75,000 a month. This is a story for 1.5 years back. When he visited our QMT on 16th of December, and during the alumni meet, he presented me one brochure and he said, "Okay, sir, now I'm having joined some real estate agent." Just 2 months back, again I was talking to him. He said, "Okay, sir, my third initiative is that he's starting some state-of-art press." What I'm trying to learn from this, that the moment you give a stimulus and the moment people, especially these ex-servicemen, understand how to earn money through good ethical practices, I think then they know how to spin off that particular, their earnings. I think that is what is our finding. I know the time is too short. We are waiting for validity function. I was talking about this stimulation, support and sustenance. In fact, I am trying to get a project on this because two such meetings with Raksha Mantri, the present Raksha Mantri. Firstly, we want to map the quality of life of these soldiers, because not that all ex-service, all these disabled soldiers are quite happy and satisfied, because a lot of problems, I don't want to share that. But then if we can inculcate this entrepreneurship in them, probably this is what is a skill development, whatever training we are giving, I thought that I should share with you. Whenever I get an August gathering like that, I share this particular project, because we want your help. We want your help. There's one company, I think Sunrise Computer, Vishwesh Kulkarni is here, through him, their MD, Uday Mehta. He visited QMT, and after going through that particular activity, he donated a package of about 3 lakhs of rupees. That is what is a mobile repair. And this particular package, I think a lot of our servicemen and disabled soldiers, they are learning this particular skill, and probably during their retirement stage, they will get good income, I suppose. Thank you very much, because I'll not take more time, because I know this is the last session. But my appeal to you that we have to look after our disabled soldiers. Friends, they are defending our borders. A fit-for person joining army gets a bullet or get into a minefield, and then due to that accident, they become disabled. I think it is our duty to look after them, to give them support and see to it that they get rehabilitated properly in their life. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to help us, QMT is next to university. Till 2008, university was also not with QMT, but that time I was a dean, so I thought that I should start something for such soldier. And for last 7 years, we are doing this particular diploma course very successfully. And let's hope if the present Honorable Raksha Mantri gives us this project, it will go at a national level. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Captain Chitle, for an excellent presentation. I would like to invite Mr. S.K. Jain, our immediate past president, on the stage, and Dr. Anand Sir Deshmukh, Director General, MCCIA. Yes. Our chief guest for the last session, Mr. Rajiv Dubey, couldn't make it, so yes.
Well, friends, because of this shifting of the sessions and all that, Rajiv Dubey could not make it because he had a board meeting at Chakan at 6 o'clock, and it was a very important board meeting. So he got himself excused. Definitely we are missing a good session, but can't help it. Thank you.
Before Dr. Anand Sir Deshmukh proposes a vote of thanks, we would like to acknowledge all our sponsors and partners for this event. I would like to invite all of them to the stage. I would like to invite Volkswagen representative who has been our silver sponsor on the stage. Mr. Jayesh is here. Please wait, we'll have a group photo with all the sponsors, so please wait on the stage behind. MIT Group of Institutions, Dr. Milind Pandey. VIT Group of Institutions, I think Dr. Sailesh Kasande is here. Mr. Sachin Satpute is also here, along with Dr. Milind Pandey. Yashashvi Group, Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni. These have been our sponsors and a strong arm behind us supporting this event of Skillconclave. Bharat Forge, Miss Leena Deshpande, who is here from Bharat Forge. Please come, sir. KPMG in India, our knowledge partners. Is there a representative from KPMG in India? There you are, KPMG. Yes, yes. Bharat Forge.
Thank you so much.
Is KPMG here?
Thank you.
We would also like to acknowledge the exhibition stall holders. Skillsonics. Is Mr. Sugato or Mr. Chandra Kumar here from Skillsonics? Rajnikant, can you tell Skillsonics? SP Mandali's Naralkar Institute's Vocational Wing, Dr. Shirude. Kushal Kridai, Colonel Sharma. Zeal Education Society. Is Mr. Jayesh Katkar here? Zeal Education Society. So I think we'll all move behind and have a photo. Skillconclave. Yeah. Please come. Yeah, please come.
Yeah, please. So I think some of you can come here. We can have
A big round of applause for all our sponsors, please.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sirs. I would request Dr. Anand Sir Deshmukh, Director General, MCCIA, to propose a vote of thanks.
Well, it's indeed my pleasure to, I would say, extend a sincere vote and appreciation to all. At the outset, I would like to thank all of you, the audience. You have given us a 2 full day, long day, And since yesterday morning when we started at 10 o'clock and now we are almost 6 o'clock, I think the entire sessions were full because of you. And even after lunch, we had all of you sitting here and, going through the presentations made by various speakers. Your participation has definitely motivated us, encouraged us. And from Skillcon 2015, now we'll move to Skillconclave 2016. Of course, with your support and your participation. I thank all of you. I also thank the sponsors who made this event possible. All of them are members of the chamber, and we always receive an encouraging help from them. Volkswagen, Bharat Forge, MIT, VIM, and Yashasvi, they all have contributed immensely for the success of this event. Of course, I'm also thankful to KPMG for producing a wonderful report, a copy of which has been received by all of you. And the copy will also go to various government officials and ministries. And it would indeed help us in the next skill conclave, and as well as to prepare for a definite skill map for Maharashtra. I also thank the supporters like the Skillsonics, Zeal Educational Society, Naralkar Institute, and Kushal Kridai for their support to this Skill Conclave 2015. NSDC, last time also they were conceptual partners for this conclave. This year also we received their support, and Mr. Dilip Chunai was here for the opening session. I'm thankful to them. All speakers who made wonderful presentations and gave us a lot of input, and I'm sure you all have received immense knowledge, shared their experiences with you, and I'm also thankful to all of them. We have been working on this project for last several months, and we received the guidance from the core committee, which included Mr. Pradeep Bhargava, Mr. J.P. Shroff, Dr. Satish Dhande, Dr. Sunil Karad, Mr. Bharat Agarwal, Dr. Shailesh Kasande and his team, Dr. Milind Pandey and his team, Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni and his team, Mrs. Kalindi Bhatt, and Dr. Captain Chitale also. All these core committee members gave us inputs, advice, direction, and they attended many, many meetings which shaped this Skill Conclave 2015. I extend our sincere gratitude to the management and staff of Hotel Le Meridien and its entire staff, the audio-visual support staff which is sitting here, as well as the Shrikant Gangapurkar and his team. And I would be failing in my duties if I don't extend my sincere thanks to my entire team from MCCI, who has also been working for a very long hours. Last but not the least, I thank my colleague, Mrs. Manjari Desai. She has been relentlessly working on this project for last so many months. And I think a major success of this event, the entire organizing planning, goes to her. And I'm very much thankful to Mrs. Manjari Desai. Thank you very much. And we now look forward to your participation to Skill Conclave 2016. We have almost a year's time, and we would indeed be glad to receive your feedback on these 2 days to Skill Conclave 2015, your suggestions for Skill Conclave 2016, and equally important, your participation not only in the Skill Conclave 2016, but all the initiatives, all the activities which are being carried out by Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industries and Agriculture. Thank you very much and good night. Well, before you leave, there are some snacks and again a tea has been organized for you. I would request all of you to have a cup of tea before you leave this hotel. Thank you very much.